got it because I was doing research back to see if they had one, and I couldn't find one on record, you know?
All right, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I thank you all for coming and participating with us today. So first order of business we have is getting the meeting called to order. So if I could have one of y'all make a motion and second, we can go ahead and get started.
I'll make a motion that we call the meeting to order.
Thank you.
I second that motion.
Thank you. All right. And now, due to council action, we are going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you don't mind, stand and place the flag and we'll do that. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and now, does anybody mind doing the invocation for us? I can do it if we have to. I'll make it short and sweet then. If you don't mind, bow your heads, please. Dear Lord, thank you for this day and thank you for the gathering of this board, and please let us make the decisions that would best serve you in the city of Graham. In your name we pray, amen. Thank you.
Amen.
All right, I'll start with the approval of the minutes from the February 17th, 2020 meeting. I assume you all have had the chance to look over those and review them, so they're up for y'all to make a decision on. I hear a motion in a second to approve the,
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from February 17th and that they be
thing.
I second.
done accordingly.
Okay. Motion in a second is approved. All right, we'll move on to item number 5, our items of discussion. Unfortunately, we won't be able to take action on the oath of office tonight as Miss Darby is not here, but we still have a quorum established. I do apologize that we couldn't do that. So next we'll move forward into electing a chair and a vice chair. I will let you all talk amongst yourselves and have a decision. You can make any motions for a person and then a second. So I'll kind of leave that up to y'all, but do as you will. So
I'll make a motion for Bonnie to be chair, Bonnie Whitaker.
I have a motion. Do I have
I
a second?
second that motion.
Okay, so Bonnie, you are now the chair of this here board. So I will allow you to make a motion or ask for someone to make a motion for a vice chair and take it away from me.
I guess we're really in trouble because I'm new to this. So
Mhm.
I will make a motion that someone nominate a vice chair. Any nominations for a vice chair?
I'll motion that V Baldwin, to my left here, will be vice chair, be considered vice chair.
All right,
I second.
all right, wonderful. Now that we got all the judicial stuff taken care of, I do appreciate the both of you, Ms. Bonnie and Ms. Clark Baldwin, for stepping up and taking on these roles. If you want to switch seats right now, you can. If you're just comfortable, we can stay where we're at. But next
I'm
meeting, of
good.
course, we'll have more nameplates for you and everything else. We'll
I'm
take
good.
care of that. So right now, I'll turn it over to Mary Fawcett for her DAC Main Street Graham updates.
May I approach chair?
Yes, ma'am, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair and commission members, thank you for this opportunity to be before you this evening. Many of you guys are familiar with me. Others of you, this may be our first meeting. I'm Mary Fawcett. I'm the Downtown Development Coordinator with the City of Graham. And we were very privileged as the city to be accepted into the North Carolina Main Street Program in 2020. If you look at the screen in front of you, the North Carolina Main Street is rooted in the 4 pillars of economic vitality, design, organization, and promotion, rooted in historic preservation. So that's just a short intro into the program. It's a nationally accredited program. Currently, we are in the prerequisite stage where we're in the Downtown Associate Community Program, which is very hard to say. So they use the acronym DAC. Our next step, and Cameron, if you'll advance the next slide, in this process is to conduct a community vision forum. So I'm here before you tonight, if you don't follow us on social media, to invite you. I hope that you're in town. This will take place Thursday at the Graham Mill from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Do be mindful that there's no private parking lot for the Graham Mill. So you'll use the city's parking lot or on street parking. And then this flyer is in Spanish and English. Feel free to share it with friends, neighbors. All ages are invited. We really hope that we'll have some representation from our youth. If you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Everybody's good? Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
All right, and now,
Mayor,
sorry.
I'm
go ahead.
sorry, I did have one question.
Sure.
When, at the meeting, will there be a modular presented to us at that time?
It is very regimented. We're
Mhm.
hopefully going to get in and out within 2 hours, but there will be snacks. So no worries about having to rush home and fix dinner. Come with an empty stomach and an open mind. And we'll have table moderators, and then my advisors from the North Carolina Main Street, along with myself, will be conducting that evening. So you don't have to necessarily come prepared with notes. You can just come, and it's a free flowing program. It'll all be guided.
Yes,
Does that make sense?
that's what I wanted to know.
Yes, Ms.
For
Ray?
those that are not able to attend, how will the information be shared, collected, and will
Sure.
you just?
So that is a really great question.
Yes,
Thank
it
you for
is.
asking that. That is something that as staff, we talked about is continuing the event after the event ends. And so of course, social media through Facebook is our #1 access, and then also over the website. So we'll do our best, but you can always reach out to me and I'll be happy to share that to anyone who can't participate. It is an in-person event. For this portion of where we are with COVID, masks are going to be recommended, but we were not able to go to a hybrid version. So it will be in person. So thank you for asking that question. Anything else? All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you again, Mary. And so now we'll move into looking in to the business beautification grant. As you can see up here, this is kind of, I guess, the process we'll move through in looking through the business beautification grant. It's kind of the recommended process that was found from previous approval processes. So give you a minute to take a look over these. Of course, the applicants will be called up here shortly and explain their projects if need be and answer any questions you all may have. After we get through everybody, we'll take a small 10-minute recess where y'all can divvy out your scores and everything and look through the matrices you have. And whenever the score sheets are submitted, you'll bring them to me. I'll get the overall rank. And then we will discuss after that which projects should receive the funding and the amount they'll receive. And then after the 10 minutes is over, we'll bring everybody back in and we'll have the final vote to award the funds. Okay, so this is kind of the process we'll be going through right now. Does anybody have any questions before we dive in and hear from some of our applicants?
I just have one question,
Yes, ma'am.
real quick. I noticed we have $15,000.
Correct.
How long do we have to give that money out? I mean, is there a date?
Well-
Is it a whole year?
It's until it's used up, you know. I mean, if there's some remaining funds over after this, we may be able to advertise and have somebody come before you next month. But I think from what it shows on the matrix or the Excel sheet I provided you all with the amounts that are going to be awarded and the percentages wise, it may use up probably about all of it in excess of maybe $50 to $75 that may be over that you have to look towards, I guess, taking off of something. But, if there's something that's not approved tonight and all of it's not used up, we can advertise it again for next month and see if we can get any applications in. Applications or the grant was advertised, like 2 months in advance, and we received these 4 applicants. So they'll be here to, I guess, answer any questions you all may have, but if there's anything else I can answer for y'all before we get started, I'll be more than happy to that kind of answer your question.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Is the score sheet the last page?
So the score sheet will be going through, what is it? The Business Beautification Grant Matrix. And it's kind of just like a 1-sheet, street side appearance, project visibility, potential community impact. And if I need to, I can go make a couple more copies of that if y'all need it.
I see it.
In the meantime, I may go run and do that while y'all are asking some questions for somebody, but there's nothing further that y'all may have to ask. I'll kind of move forward. And I also have it in the slide as well. So, if you got a piece of pen and paper, you can kind of look at it up here and then we can kind of determine further.
Thank you.
We all good? Wonderful. Well, we'll move into our first applicant. This one is for 303 West Hardin Street, and the applicant is Roll Estate Holdings. They are applying to remove existing glass storefront, the rotting wood and old paint, and replace all of that with black aluminum glass storefront, and repaint the existing storefront and replace any damaged wood where needed. So I'll call upon Mr. Roll if he wants to come up here and explain any more on his behalf. And if y'all have any questions for him, he'll be able to answer.
Hello, my name is Jensen Roll, and I'm representing Roll Estate Holdings. And so we just purchased this building at 303 Hardin Street, and we were really excited to try to attract some small businesses to this location and continue to focus on Hardin Street as another exciting location to be in downtown Graham. To do this, we are applying for the beautification grant. With this money, we're planning to update the storefront, so that will be replacing all the glass, the door. It's currently wood. A lot of the glass has deteriorated, and there are some cracks and different things like that. And then we also plan to paint the front and replace any rotting wood to further attract small businesses to downtown Graham.
Y'all have any questions for Mr. Roll?
I was looking to see, Mr. Roll, I did see where you got an Elements glass, and then there was another glass company. There was a little difference in the materials that they were using. Was that the difference in the pricing?
Well, that would probably be part of it. I can't speak too much to the difference in pricing. I do know glass is a lot more expensive than it was a few months ago. So this has become an expensive project.
Okay. And I know the building, I've seen it, and I think it would, be a great enhancement for it. You've done a lot of work since you've owned it, just a short period of time. It just went on the market, in August, September?
I think we purchased it in August, but
Yeah.
don't hold me to that.
Yeah, it was somewhat, just very recent. So just looking at the pictures now, it's been a great improvement.
Thank you.
Cleaning up around the building, the debris and all that was there. It looks great
Thank you
so
very
far.
much.
Do you have any current potential tenants that are inquiring or?
We've received a landslide of interest, which we've been very excited about, and we're currently working with a few to hopefully nail down a lease. Mhm.
So were you gonna have a restaurant or just a retail business?
I can't share what we're doing at this
Okay.
time, but I hope to have a food concept for you.
Okay, it was just out of curiosity.
Mhm. Thank you.
Did you have to have a certificate or a permit for that?
Not for the work that we're bringing you today. For the overall building, we will end up getting a permit, but that will be outside of the beautification.
And that doesn't constitute, I think in one of the applications, the box for a COA was checked, and this, like, looked into it a little bit before, but this is outside of the historical overlay, so it wouldn't require any HRC approval. So this would all be staff and inspection, so that doesn't weigh much on it. So Do we have any other questions for Mr. Roll?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jensen.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we'll move into our second topic, which is for 604 Washington Street. And that is for an application by Ms. Janet Eckelbarger, I think, correct? Did I say it right? Wonderful. So this is an application, if I can read. Is this just a landscaping update, Ms. Janet? Okay, well, this application is for a landscape update to the building at 604 Washington Street, and we'll have window replacements as well. So I'll call upon Ms. Janet if she would want to come speak, and if y'all have any questions for her.
Everybody, thank
Oh,
you for your
okay.
time. We purchased this old textile mill 5 years ago, and we have worked diligently to fix it up. It was a real disaster. It was really a disaster. And so now that we got the inside done, the outside really needs some work. There's a hole in the building where the window is going to go that had a 1940s HVAC unit in the front, which was literally the size of a pickup truck, which we took apart carefully and recycled all the metal. And now we have this hole in the building that I currently have just blankets covering because it gets the cold air in. And we would love to have a window there. It would brighten the space. And the bushes that are there now just look terrible and unattractive and very dated. I really enjoy sort of the tropical look of what North Carolina will allow you to plant in this climate. And I have yuccas and elephant ears in the other areas on that block, and I'm just trying to make it a big cohesive space. So we would have to increase the size of the hole in the building to put in the window, and that is where a lot of the expense is. We need a brick person to come in and put in a lintel, and otherwise it would just be a really weird sort of stomach level window, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So we're asking for some help to realize this.
I do have one question.
Yes.
As I was going through your information, I did note that your landscape estimate, this didn't have to go before the HRC. Is that correct?
I don't believe that the Washington Street is within the historic overlay corridor either. I can
And-
look real quick just to double check and make sure.
No, that's fine. I just wanted that clarified before I move on to the next thing, because I didn't know if it had already been adopted into some other minutes or in some other fashion, because I do notice that your landscape has the estimate. Something I had about this. I did want to know if it had been approved with the HRC, but like you said, it's not in the downtown historic district, but you have cleaned up around the building. I also drove by there as well, and it does look good. And I can see where you're saying that it's like a shrubbery or something that was there in that hole. So yeah,
It's been there for a long time.
yeah. So I think that you're right on point with your upgrades. That's good. Do you know, you have a time frame that you're to work upon within the contract? Do you think you'll meet that deadline?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're ready to move on this. We're actually having a new roof put on the very back of the building
Yes.
today. So
Yeah. I saw that.
that was a big mess as well. And we're just really trying to, make that block look great. And I think
You're
we
doing a
have
great job. Thank you for
tried
that.
really hard. Yeah.
Yes.
How will the yuccas and the elephant ears fare during the winter in this climate? Is that
Well,
surprising?
the elephant ears, crazily, they do stay in this climate, and the yuccas are perfect in this climate. They grow all over the place. So they're really wonderful plants. They stay green all the time, and not a lot of insects really bother them, which is really interesting. But I just like the look very much. It's the tropical paradise I didn't get to go to. So I'm bringing it to my place.
I like that.
Does anybody have any more questions for Ms. Janet?
I just had one other question. It's just kind of a I was wondering if you were planning to do anything with that solid door. I drove by there today as well, and
Mm-hmm.
the property has been cleaned up a lot, and I think your design is really nice.
Thank you.
I think that window is going to make a world of difference in the look of that building.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you had any plans for that solid door over there.
You mean on the left-hand
Yeah,
side? next to
yeah,
the-
'cause you
We'll
got the
probably
window.
replace that at some point with just another
Or
solid
paint it or
door.
something?
Yeah, paint it, definitely, definitely. I mean, this is our moment to sort of finally address the front of the building.
Right.
Then we have to address the back of the building
Yeah, so,
as well, but the business beautification grant doesn't cover the back of the building. so-
no, unfortunately.
But we are working very hard and we want to bring that building back up. I don't think anybody did anything to that building for 40 years. So it's been us.
Any other questions? Well, Ms. Janet, thank you so much for coming and presenting.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we'll move into our third topic of discussion, which is 30 Southwest Court Square, and that is the Graham Furniture Mart in downtown. This one is in the historic overlay district and it was granted last month to get a COA, so they do have their COA approval from the HRC. This request for the grant is to install a new awning and repair the facade of the building. I do not believe Mr. Krotz is available today or any of his representatives. I can speak on behalf if I absolutely need to. If y'all have any questions regarding it that I can maybe answer to, or I may ask over to Mary if she has any input as well, since she heard it last week.
I just want to point out to everybody, and I know you already know this because you're on the other committee with me, so, but for everyone else, so that they know, he did receive a facade grant from the Historic Commission on October 5th for half the price of the work, half the total price. So just to let you know that he does have that other grant in place already, in case that might affect your decision about how much money you might want to offer or not.
And I will add into that, just so everybody knows as well, that it's not, I guess, frowned upon to put in a request for 2 applications. But of course, as Ms. Bonnie noted, they did get awarded for one last week or the week before last at the HRC meeting. But we do allow for these 2, I guess, step instances to occur. Will it be like that in the future? I'm not too sure. So, but just so y'all know, so if I can answer any questions, please shoot away. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a quick question. So I know the Graham Furniture Mart on Main Street, that was recently redone, maybe the last couple years. So is he saying he wants to do the same facade, brick and awning over there on Court Square in that area? Is that?
I'll let Mary answer that. I could answer it, but I think she has a little bit more information than I do.
So if you look at the picture with the American flag, there is a, above that is a neon sign. So the request is to refurbish the sign, so painting in the backdrop of it. His facade of that building is painted brick. So fixing any inadequacies in the brick and the parapet, I believe is how you said it, or something along the top of the awning. And then there is like on the front, the little small awning, he would place that above the door for reprieve of customers coming in. So it's not exactly the same as the front signage, but similar to the awning. Is there anything, Mrs. Clark Baldwin or Mrs. Whitaker, that y'all recall that I didn't mention?
No, I just know the type of sign that he was requesting that we did not allow right now, but he was gonna come up with another design.
Right.
And I don't know if that's been done
That
or
was
not.
different. That was the Green and McClure furniture.
Oh.
This sign is approved. It's already existing. So there's no challenges with meeting sign regulations. It's just simply refurbishing what's already there.
It comes into a non-conforming instance where it's been there for so long, it's grandfathered in or grandmothered in. And if it were to change, I guess, get taken down, then it'd fall into the non-conforming aspect. But where it's at right now, it's completely fine. So I just want to tag that in as well.
I just wanted to add, because they were recently awarded another grant, and I know you said you could do both at the same time simultaneously, that's fine.
Mhm.
But because there are other, we've so early into distributing the funds, and we have very limited funds at 15,000. We have a request at 16.6 or something I looked at. And just to be fair, I think if we could publicize the grant a little while longer, maybe get some more interested parties and some more needed parties involved, just so we can spread it around a little bit more. Because people, may or may not understand that, well, nobody else is applying for it, so we are awarding who's applying. But we want to make sure that we're looking back, that we're being fair. And there are a lot of other businesses, and I don't know if they are aware, and I don't know what other publication we could maybe put out to make them more aware. But I think I would like to see this pinned for now and maybe give an opportunity for other applicants to come forth, and then we could do an allocation at that time. That's my suggestion.
Yes, ma'am, and that's something we can further discuss whenever the time for scoring comes around. This is kind of just general consensus, and I do appreciate you bringing that up, that, yes, they did. Now, I guess it turns into the discussion of whether or not that should be a reasoning behind as to why they do not get the grant money. Be something I'd have to kind of investigate real quick and just double check and make sure, but that's the board's feeling surrounding it, then there's nothing I can really do. So is there any more questions for the Furniture Mart?
I agree with what she was saying.
Mhm.
Basically, we don't want to give the appearance of impropriety, like we're giving the money to the same people every single year.
Mhm.
So I get what she's saying, and I don't think there would be any problem with people going out and actively, maybe soliciting some of these business owners around town, that look really bad, to maybe apply for some of these grants and start trying to generate some more interest. I don't think we can go
Mhm.
out and do that, right? Like lobby people to come and,
Sure thing.
apply for these grants.
Yeah, I guess, the next thing is you really don't want to lobby too much as of right now, especially if there's only X amount left over.
Right.
That's the big thing as well that you kind of have to look into. If you get 6 more applicants in, whenever we move it again, then, all right, we have to divvy up what, like 4.5, like $4,500 between
Right.
6 people. So that's a little difficult as well. So I think,
We're
that's
talking
something
for
else.
next time.
oh, of course, yes, of course.
Next
So
year. So,
So like I said, again, that's based upon y'all's findings of y'all's decision through the scoring matrix, and if y'all want to allow the funds to be allocated or not. So I'll just leave it at that. But just keep that in mind, that if we do re-advertise it, we could get an excess amount, and then it's like, all right, who are we not going to give it to? That's
right,
when you have to be the bad guy, as I often am in some situations. So
no,
Because the 15,000 is for the fiscal year and there's no other money to go back. to
that's
the-
correct.
Okay.
And it won't come back until the next time, like around this time next year, whenever the new budget is presented and the grant application opens up again. So
if
Yeah.
all that money is not allocated, where does it go? Does it roll back into the next year budget, or is it gone, put somewhere else?
I think
How does that-
would it get thrown into the general fund? I believe if it's not used, then they'll toss it
Okay.
back into the, man, if you don't use $50 and they
Yeah.
throw it back in, you don't use $5,000, they throw it back in. I think that's,
Yeah,
So part of the discussion that we had at HRC, where we too were just shy of 15,000, there really wasn't enough to award another applicant. If you guys have an amount in excess of a couple hundred or a couple thousand, and you as a commission feel that this is substantial enough to open it up again, we have time that you could reset application acceptance and then closure dates. But if it is a smaller amount to where it doesn't behoove the commission to move in that direction, it would be absorbed into the general fund.
and
I would like to also reiterate again, I would like to leave it open and maybe solicit other businesses. And I know what you're saying, we may get inundated, and that would be great to me, because what that does, it brings more awareness. And it brings more involvement from the town and from the citizens and from the business owners.
just,
So I support, getting more applications that we have money for. And then the next year, we'll know we'll have something in front of us where we're not canceled because we don't have any business at hand. So I support that idea, and I would still recommend that we do go out and solicit more businesses and get more people involved.
okay. Anybody else have any questions in regards to the furniture mart here that I can answer? Well, good. Wonderful. Well, let's move on to the fourth and last. So now we'll be discussing 615 West Hardin Street, and this is the Trailhead Church. And I believe Mr. Dave is on the line, who submitted this application. They didn't have much in the description of proposed improvement, but you all have a lot in your agenda, and I'll see here if we can get him on the line here. Dave, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, let me turn this over to you and you can give a little explanation of what's going on here, and then they can answer or ask any questions you need.
Okay, let me ask first, do you all have the entire packet that includes all of the description, including the pictures and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So I don't know if the committee remembers that you approved our grant application last year, which was for phase 2 of this landscaping project. This application is for the third and final phase of our landscaping improvement. Our property is the former textile mill on Hardin Street. It's there across from Grow Works in that area there. So one of the things we pointed out last year was the importance of this property just in terms of the visibility coming into Graham. It is the first property that you see as you come past the sign that says welcome to Graham. So we'd really like to obviously present it in a nice way. So the third phase here, it includes the underplanting, understory planting and installation of all the plants in the landscape beds. At this point, they are just mulched. So phase 2 was to prepare and mulch those landscaping beds. And then also one of the other major parts of this would be to install a fence around some electrical equipment that will obviously improve the look, but also it'll be safer for the community who does come onto the property. And then just freshening up those beds, adding a small pathway, and just kind of finishing out that project.
Y'all have any questions?
Well, I did drive by the property today. It's really not horribly visible from the street. I mean, I had to pull down like into the parking lot to really go and observe the condition of the property from the street. It looks fine to me. It's already got mulch in the beds. I think they had a grant last year for phase 2, as he said, and I think the year before they had a grant for phase 1. Is that correct, sir?
We did not have one for phase 1.
Okay, but you did for phase 2, right?
We did.
Okay. Well, I mean, a lot of this stuff in phase 3, the pre-emergence of weed control, we've already given them money once for weed control. We already gave them money once for maintenance on turf and beds and mulch, and they're asking for it again. I think I'm just thinking that maybe, installation of a fence around their electrical equipment, again, that's not really.
Beautification or.
No, I don't see that it's going to really improve the property from the street view. I mean, I'm sure it would be more pleasing for their parishioners. But I mean, and two, this is a business kind of grant. And we can argue all day long about whether or not a church is a business. I'm not against church or religion at all. But, they don't really generate any revenue for the city of Graham. And as I said, it looks nice now. I mean, I think it looks quite nice. They've
Yeah.
trimmed out the oak trees. They look really pretty from the street. And those are just some of the thoughts that I have on it. When do you think, sir, that you'll be done with this whole phase 3 is like the last phase, right?
In terms of landscaping, yes. So we would plan to be finished by, the spring of 2022.
Okay,
That would coincide with the deadline for completing the project if the grant were approved as well.
okay,
And just to clarify a little bit, really the two major funding pieces of this, while it does include there's stuff in there about weed control and stuff like that. The bid that we have actually went far above the amount that would need to be the $5,000. So really, the major pieces of this in terms of funding are the planting. So those plants that add color and brighten up the space, and then the fencing. So those are the two major pieces in terms of funding, just so that you're aware of where that money would be going.
okay, thank you. That's all I had. Did somebody else have?
It seems like a lot to me. For 9,000 for the surrounding the electrical box, seems like a lot.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Mr. Dave?
Well, I'm going to add to what she said. It does seem like an enormous amount, although I'm not in that field of work, so I don't see the estimates every day, but
Okay.
it does seem to be kind of out of the pocket there on the monies. Also, as indicated before, we have this committee, me not being a part of it at the time, has already rewarded the money. And we just recently you got finished with the phase 2 of the project. And going back into phase 3, I know you want it completed, but it's not anything like, I do agree again, it's not anything that's going to bring any more value or anything that's decapitated where it's falling apart and we really need to get on it. And right now, it does look very good. And I have noticed the tremendous change very quickly. So I don't know where else funding was coming from, but it's been a lot of upgrades to that building just recently within the last 9 to 10 months. I traveled that way practically every day. So I was just like stunned when I saw it. And you've done a great job there, but I just don't think what we were out to get applicants for is going to really meet or match the criteria. I was thinking more people that was maybe affected on a hardship with the pandemic and everything going on. I think that there are a lot of other buildings that I see every day as well that could possibly utilize these funds and not to say that you guys don't want to do whatever else you need to do in your phase 3, but I just don't know if our funds, because we are so limited, would be adequate for this type of project. That's my comment.
Mr. Dave, would you like to add anything in?
I appreciate the committee reviewing our application, and we appreciate the support we had last year. We obviously appreciate that, the committee feels that the property looks good. We have worked very hard on it. So, we are happy members of the community and appreciate any involvement that the city and committees there would like to take.
Everybody good?
Thank
I appreciate it, Mr. Dave. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. So now that we've reviewed all 4 of the applications, we'll go back and we'll go through our recommended process for the next step. So we've explained all the project and we've answered all the questions. So right now we'll take a slight 10-minute recess and you can all, I guess, do your own individual scoring. Attempt not to have too much discussion as it is recessed and we don't want to, I guess, violate any laws. So just kind of talk amongst yourselves and fill out your score matrix and turn them into me, and then we'll further discuss this after we're done. So does anybody have any questions for me before?
Yeah,
Do you
Cameron,
have any more copies?
Yes, ma'am. I can go make some copies right now. Actually,
So we would need one for each project?
sure. I'll go make some more copies in the meantime. We'll run a 15-minute.
Thank you.
Hey,
So-
Cameron, can you let us know which properties may or may not have had grants before that we don't know about? Because, I mean, we wouldn't know, I mean, unless
I
you,
believe on their application, they selected as to whether or not they had previous grants for, if you look on one of the sheets, it should have it.
well, I know like with the one in the court square.
Yep.
Because of the date he filled it out, we met after that date and gave him the facade grant, so he
Mhm.
wouldn't have known about it when he put this paperwork in, and other people might have been in the
Yeah.
same.
So on the first page of the application, the first thing that is asked is I have not received any other grant funding for this proposed improvement. So I think the only one that would come into question is the Kratz building down there, the Furniture Mart. They're the only ones that have received grant funding other than the church as well, since they received
Yeah.
some last
Okay.
year. So those are the only two. Jensen, this is the first time you've done work there. So just those two that you have to take a look at. So,
One more question, Cameron.
yes, ma'am.
For the bids, what's the bidding process? Is it one bid or two bids? Is
So-
Follow city protocol?
Yeah, so I believe the city requires one bid, or it requires two bid, and one must be from an independent type contractor concept. I think it's right here. Well, it just has here that there's two itemized project costs estimated. So I think that's the baseline for it. I don't know if there's anything that's associated with the independent. I just know there needed to be at least two. And I believe everybody provided one, or at least two.
Thank you.
Everyone provided two. So, Ms. Chair, do you mind recessing for us? If y'all are ready?
Before we recess, Chair, would you like to explain to them the information that's going to be required on each scoring sheet? So we'll be able
Sure,
to.
if you want me to.
Yeah.
The information that we're gonna need to do, you're gonna need to put the property name on there. I know that's a really small area to write in. I can't write in that area, so I wrote it at the top. And we're gonna need to put our names on each sheet. And then, I think the rest of it's pretty much, self-explanatory. Yeah, well, that's, yeah, the property name or address, yeah. So, and then total your score up at the end. And if you have a question, we can always ask Cameron. He's the guy that'll know the
Mhm.
answer.
I'll try and answer them after the recess because I don't want to impede on any laws. So, but I can address anything after y'all at least give an initial effort. And if y'all are finished, we can cut the 10 minutes short, but whenever y'all are ready.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
just ask for a motion and then a second, and then we'll do that.
I ask motion that the committee recess
Mhm.
and make our vote at this time scoring.
Yes, ma'am.
I second that.
Wonderful. The motion and a second. Chair, do you approve?
I approve,
Approve.
yes.
Thank you, Chair.
I make a motion that we reopen the session again. Oh, okay. I'm asking for a motion to reopen the session.
So moved.
Sorry, I'm new at this.
You make the motion.
No, I just moved her motion that she asked for.
That's why she's asking. the
Yeah, that's why I
question.
said so moved. Yeah.
Second.
Mm. All in favor?
All in
Chair?
favor?
Yes.
Say aye.
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 Wonderful. And I will touch base back, as I mentioned, Ms. Whitaker, for the previous votes for approval. If you could ask for if there were any denials on behalf of, I guess, any of the prior approvals, as if it wasn't brought up for yay or nays. So if you could address your board and ask that
Are you
question.
talking about prior approvals?
Yes, all the prior approvals, they weren't, whether we didn't go all in favor, aye, all
Right.
opposed, no. So ask if there's any
Application.
of the previous ones that we've approved, like the calling the meeting to order and the approval of minutes, basically. If
Oh,
there were any that were against it, just so it's in
And
record.
then also the approval of the officers that were selected. Did
Oh,
we
yes,
have to do
that as
aye,
well.
yay? Yeah.
okay. Do I need to be specific with each one? Or just-
No, I believe you can just address the
Okay.
full approvals before
Okay.
ask.
Are there is there anyone that wants to deny any of the previous motions that were carried forward?
No,
No.
No?
wonderful.
No.
All right. Well, I'll come by and I'll collect
Get
what
that
all
right on.
you all have done. And we'll take a look at it. I guess what I'll do is I'll review what you've done.
I did,
I'll
yeah.
give you what all you've kind of ranked as the highest to the lowest, and then we'll get into the discussion of putting B funds.
That was my
So,
homework.
Yeah. Hopefully I can make quick work of this. In the meantime,
We're-
you all can continue to kind of have your discussions in regards to the awarding.
I'd like to ask the board some suggestions that they may have in us getting out and soliciting other businesses to draw more attention to our application process.
There are quite a few apartments with like signage for the apartments that I was thinking that I thought of. Does it have to be downtown or can it be anywhere in Graham?
Well, I think it's within the Graham city limits. Is that right? It's not, is it county or is it city?
It's the city. so
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
it's within the
city.
Graham city limits.
Like Colonial Arms, like their sign is kind of faded. I don't know, there's just,
As long as they pay City of Graham taxes, we're good.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's good for visibility, for people looking. So, here, I'll take some notes.
And there's a couple of places along, really all of West Hardin is just kind of
Yes.
in disrepair. I know like there's a automobile place that needs some work. Maybe we could approach them. I don't remember what the address is.
They're on both sides of the road. before
Yeah,
you get
there's
to
two of them.
Steve's.
There's one on each side
Of Hardin Street,
on
down
Hardin
below the
Street.
property we just talked
Right,
about.
exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would think that would be somewhere within the 300 to 400 block.
yes,
I
I
can
think it
definitely-
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Those would be possibly some that we could solicit too as well.
And the dry cleaners.
Oh, the dry cleaner
Yeah, that one
definitely
looks
needs to
real
be,
bad.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
very
And
good.
that's all coming into downtown, which would be
Yeah.
very beneficial to
Yeah,
everyone.
and I can
Yes.
actually go out and solicit them tomorrow.
Okay.
And I think we could come up with a verbiage that we would all be comfortable with, so we're all kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Just a little script, something short, sweet.
Yeah. Of course, we need to
and
see-
Get it approved, and
Right.
have Cameron and Mary to look over it, make sure we're using the right verbiage. And I think we all go out with the same paper, same intention, and come back and see what we can do next month with new applicants.
We'll see how much money we have left.
Yeah.
After tonight.
Well,
Um,
guess from what I could see, from looking at your matrices is, the two top priority ones, it's kind of neck and neck between the Roll Estate and Miss Janet's as well. So those are the 1 and 2, and then of course the next one are 3 and 4, and they can also be kind of flip flopped as well. So I'll kind of leave it up to y'all to make which projects should receive the funding and how much you all want to award
Okay.
for the projects. And then whenever we get a consensus of the amount, we'll go back through and we'll vote on each of the business beautification grants as one at a time. So you'll say this one's going to receive X amount approved, motion second, all in favor, aye, all opposed, no. So we'll go through that process. So I guess first we can start with the 303 West Hardin Street. That was if not number one, it was a close second. Number two is the top priority that you all felt should be receiving the funds. So I'll open that up for discussion with y'all.
So his total cost for the project, the lowest bid was $9,808. Does everybody have this page with the allotments that we're allowed to give? I'll share with you. You don't have another one of those pages, do you?
I may.
With the,
So
I'll look through mine.
50% of the proposed amount. So
right. So we can either do 25% according to this, 50%, 75%, or 100%. Of course, 100% would be, $4,904. So it would be approximately half. So does anybody have any thoughts on that? What they might like to do or?
I would like to, because it is visible. It's a
Mhm.
very busy street and people come in and out of Graham that way. They get off on 49
Right.
Maple Avenue,
Right.
and they come down to the city of Graham. So it's very visible. I would say 100% that property.
Your motion? I'll second that motion.
Well, I guess, did you all allot an amount that you wanted to give?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Yeah,
that's what
so
we're
we didn't
figuring
need a motion in a second quite just yet. So
Yeah.
whenever we get the number that we'll discuss, then we'll move to, okay, this is the amount we've agreed upon. Do we have a motion and a second for the approval of the money?
So are you
So at
saying
this time-
9,800?
No,
It's
they're saying
50%.
4,904.
4,900 for the.
Yeah, we
for the-
can't give them like the total.
Can't give over
100%.
5,000.
Okay.
So 5,000 is the max.
This is kind of deceiving because it says 100%, but it's
Right.
really only 50% because that's all we're allowed to give.
Okay.
We're not allowed to give more than, what is it, 5,000?
5,000 is the max.
Yes,
So if a
ma'am.
project's 21,000, we can only give them 5,000 and that would be considered 100%
Mhm.
of the
course.
award.
Right.
So in this case, 100% is the $4,904.
Yes,
Correct.
So,
and that's what I'm proposing.
okay.
So you propose that they receive the full 100% of the allotted award that they were, I guess, based upon in the Excel sheet that I provided.
Yes,
Yes.
that's what she's proposing,
sir.
yes.
And you'll ask for a motion in a second.
Can we have a motion on whether or not to
Mhm.
award the $4,904 to 303 West Hardin Street?
Made the motion. Oh,
Somebody make it.
So moved.
So I make a motion that we accept the project as submitted at 100%.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
There we go.
You want us to go ahead and vote now?
Yes, please.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Let the record show it. It's unanimous.
All right. Next, we'll move into 604 Washington Street. And this was to install the window in the hole that's currently there and update the landscaping and relocate the bench. So I'll let y'all have that up for discussion.
As we noted, the project has been doing a tremendous job there. It's brought a lot of improvement to that area. And I don't think anything that's being asked is out of the perimeter of beautification and appearance. And I think with the proper installments that she's already suggested, that it will be, it will definitely secure the building from rodents and different things of that nature and break in. So I think everything on the application is appropriate. And I make a suggestion that the board consider this at 100% as well.
Do we have a motion for 100%, which would be $3,890.50 for 604 Washington Street?
I'll motion. Nobody wants to do it. I'll move that I motion to move forward with approving the 604 Washington Street at 100%, $3,890.50.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor of awarding 604 Washington Street, the 100% of the allotted amount, which would be $3,890.50. Raise your hand. Let the record show it was unanimous.
Wonderful. All right, so now we'll move on to the next one for 615 West Hardin. This is the Trailhead Church application. So this one ranked right in behind the Southwest Court Square. Like I said, these two could also be flip-flopped back and forth between the third and fourth priority list. So I will let y'all have this up for discussion as what y'all want to do moving forward.
I personally, I think we should table this one, deny it. That's just my opinion.
If you want to, it can be tabled until the next meeting to actually, I guess, I mean, you heard from Dave, but of course, not in person. He may have more to say when he comes in here. If you would like to table the request for this application and open it back up to the public for more requests for funds, then that's available as well. If you want to outright deny it, that's the wishes of the board. You all have the authority to kind of grant or deny.
Oh,
I would
personally,
like to
I would like to
deny.
deny it.
I'd like to deny. I'd like to make a motion that we deny this application.
Okay, do we
second that.
we have a second? Okay. Okay, all in favor of denying the 615 West Hardin request for landscaping assistance? Raise your hand. Let the record show it wasn't unanimous to deny it.
And we'll move on to the last one for 30 Southwest Court Square. This is Graham Furniture Mart. So I will open up y'all's discussion.
Okay, bearing in mind, they've already gotten half for the project, just so as a reminder to you guys. Does anyone have any suggestion of what?
Well,
they'd
in
like
all
to do here?
fairness, when we're looking at being able to supply 50% and they've already pretty much gotten 50%, but it's from another resource, but it's still coming out of the same pocket with the city of Graham. So I would say that you kind of double dipping, but it is submissible. It's okay to do it the way that it's written now, but just on the merits, based on the merits that what we're trying to represent here for equal opportunity for business owners and allowing them the opportunity to also apply, opening it up more. I'm going to make a suggestion that we consider, further discussion, but I think that we should, just based on the fact they've already gotten 50%, where do we draw the line?
Right.
And I think just based on the merits alone, we should stand behind what it says.
Anybody else have any comment on that?
So are we recommending if we reopen the grant process that we'll reconsider this proposal at that time amongst any others that may come in?
We
or-
can do that. We can vote on tabling it, like he said, and then we can revisit it. If we don't get any other applications, we can come back and reopen this one.
I
Yes.
think that would be the only way that you would be able to address this one again. If you outright deny it, it wouldn't be able to be brought back up until the next. But since, it is an occasion where the owner was not able to come speak, if you feel like that holds enough weight to where you feel like you should table it and reopen, I'll probably ask after we get done with this, if you'll make a motion to open the grant back up, since there is remaining funds, and we'll kind of do that. But of course, if you want to hear back from them, you are more than happy to table it and I guess hear a rationale behind it next month. And we can kind of move forward with that. So that's up to the board.
Is that what you guys would rather do? Table it for now and then reopen it next month?
I think I would suggest that we how long is the grant available? I mean, do we have to like have depleted it by next month or?
Well, you all can set the deadline when you want, I guess, to do it again. So, I mean, if you want to give it a
Next-
month, you know, where maybe we don't meet next month and we offer it for the 2 months so we can get more applicants in, you know,
That's what I,
Yeah.
you know, we won't meet next month unless warrant we need to, but you can set it for, I'll have to look at the date.
Yeah. that's my suggestion for December.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we can make a motion to table it until December.
Well, we'll say table it until the next meeting,
Okay.
warrant that we have something next month maybe, and
Okay.
then it could be tabled again.
Okay.
It'll be, if we do have a meeting next month, it'll be under the agenda item of old business.
Gotcha.
And we won't bring it up unless, if y'all want to make the deadline, for December. I would suggest, just based upon me looking at the calendar here, that probably request that applications be submitted by Friday, December 3rd at 5 o'clock. So that way it'll give a week to kind of go through and make all
The-
the applications.
The
that
next
way.
meeting, the meeting date in December is
The 14th.
the 14th.
Yes, ma'am. So
okay.
that'll give that Monday and Tuesday to prepare all the grant applications and send y'all's agenda out.
Okay.
But that's for December. Like I said, I would say hold it for the next meeting, but let's make the deadline December 3rd, 2021.
Okay.
For that just warrant.
Well, okay, so when you're saying hold it for the next meeting, are you saying we're gonna address it the next meeting again?
Yes, ma'am. So if
I
it's if you table it, then you table it to the next meeting.
I would rather not address it within 30 days. I would like to bring it back in December.
But
Uh,
we can do that. But what he's saying is we have. We
I
need to
can't
put it
table
off.
it to December.
Well, you'll have to table it to December in the November meeting. So it'll be brought
Right.
back up as old business, but you all can
can
make
only
a motion
table it for
to
1
table
month.
it again.
Okay,
Till the next meeting.
right.
Yeah,
So
And
what
give
we
it-
can do is table it till the next meeting, and then the next meeting in November, we
Mhm.
can table it till December
and staff will set a date for December 3rd as the
for
deadline.
applicants.
Okay, that
So if it
sounds,
does, if we do have a meeting,
Thank
that's
you.
why basically, because we want to have a little bit of time.
yeah.
Right.
But, you know, I can't halt the process if we do have to have a meeting next month. You know, if we do
Okay.
have to have a meeting next month, it'll just be brought up under old business, like I said, and it'll be brought up and then tabled back.
Yeah,
down
because we
again.
still have almost
Yeah, I'll-
$8,000 left
Yeah.
to,
I'm sorry, I'm
work
not
with.
clear now. Okay, so I just heard you say something a little different and maybe my perception is getting wider.
All right.
But are you saying then that if we table it to next month, that we would have to address it if we have other applicants?
Well, it's not tabled. It'd be based upon the deadline of the application. So if the deadline for the application is December 3rd, then we wouldn't be able to take any sort of action on it until the application deadline is complete. Is that kind of making a little bit more sense?
in
But if
other words,
warrant,
it's a formality.
yeah, warrant, if we do
Okay,
have to have a
gotcha.
meeting in November, and the deadline isn't met yet, then it'd be basically we're tabling because the deadline has
Right.
not been set or has not been met for the next round of reviews for the business beautification grant.
Yes.
You
sir.
kind of on the same lines with me?
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
I just making sure. It's
No,
a,
no,
it's
you're doing
like-
good. You're
like-
here to help us and I
it's
appreciate
procedure,
that.
unfortunately, you know. just-
Absolutely. And then, and we'll go with the Madam Chair. She explained that she got the same concept, so
Mhm.
I'm with that.
So,
I'll make a motion that we table the 30 Southwest Court Square Graham Furniture Mart application until our next meeting next month.
or just our next meeting.
Okay, our
Mhm.
next meeting. And then I also make a motion that we extend our deadline for the application process to December 3rd.
Mhm.
Anyone want to second that?
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Let the record show that we're going to go ahead and table 30 Southwest Court Square Graham Furniture Mart until our next meeting. And we've also extended the deadline for applicants until December 3rd.
Mhm. And just some quick math right here. I'll give you all an estimate of how much we have left over.
The 5, right?
7205. So that will remainder, so
Awesome.
7205.50, because there's 50 cent. Okay, so 7205.50. Somebody was ahead of me on that.
Depend on one.
All right, so let it be known that
Good job.
the awards for, as you mentioned, 303 West Hardin, 604 Washington Street were granted in the full amount. 615 West Hardin Trailhead Church was denied their application, and 30 Southwest Court Square was tabled until our next meeting. The remaining funds we have for the business beautification grant is $7,205.50. That application is open back up to any businesses that want to submit. We will discuss those at our next meeting. Deadline for the applications are December 3rd at 5 o'clock. So if there is anybody that is listening on here that would like to resubmit, or if you know of any businesses, try not to get into too many details that we don't want to get into a conflict of interest. But if, try and stay away from any store owners, or property owners that you could kind of, I guess, tell them to apply. It gets a little slippery when you get into the conflict of interest stuff.
I would
Okay.
like for us to establish the verbiage here,
Yes, ma'am.
so we would all be on the same page, and you could maybe just guide us,
Of course.
making sure that we are using the correct language
Mhm.
and not, being too heavy-handed with coursing, but making a suggestion.
Yes, ma'am.
So if we could just establish that.
Maybe if we could just
Could this,
just make people aware, not necessarily,
It'll be advertised again.
right, and we could just kind of maybe drop them a flyer or something and just
Yeah,
say,
um,
hey, there's money available. Here's
Yeah,
the
but
application
I try and
process.
avoid any, direct,
You written,
or conversation as
Right.
okay,
the conflict of interest stuff with the new 160D standards are so like
got you.
Loctite and super restrictive. So the last thing we want to do is get into a
Yeah.
smack
Yes.
here about, all right, who talked to who, and yes,
so
ma'am.
then
So it would be
basically,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Ben.
oh, go ahead.
It would be my suggestion then that if we could just get a copy of what you're advertising.
Yeah.
And just make that a flyer and then just hand it out. And you have any questions, your number, somebody's number could be at the
Yes,
bottom.
yes, please
That way
direct
we're
them towards
not,
me, and
you
y'all
know,
stay as far away from it as
misconstrued.
possible until it comes back up here in a
Okay.
public setting to where it's a public meeting. You're listening to what they have to propose, but that's basically how it goes.
But flyers are admissible. We're allowed to do that. We-
As long as there's not, much direct contact of, them discussing what they want to do with you or things along those lines, just try and limit conversation to an
Is the
absolute.
flyer online? Is something I can get offline, or how would I access that flyer? I mean, what you've already advertised.
Yes, ma'am. So it's like advertised on the Facebook and the website, I believe. I don't know if we have physical, like hard copy of flyers. That can be something that I could easily provide you all. If I can print off some copies tomorrow and have them sitting out for anybody that wants to come pick them up and maybe hand them to people.
Yes.
We could, or just drop them at the door. We don't even have to
Yeah,
Y'all
talk to them, just,
Y'all want to come
Yeah.
say hello to me or anything? No, don't want to say hello? No, too far. Okay.
I was gonna say hello to you.
No, but I can definitely do
No,
it.
you're gonna leave them here?
I can do it tomorrow and we'll kind of move forward from there.
I like
And
that.
we'll have to advertise that the deadline's been extended for those as well. So
Be
Okay.
good. That way we're in the clear.
Yep.
I
So-
just, Karen, I have one question. I definitely see letting the city take the lead on that piece. What if, are there like local not necessarily downtown, but maybe Graham Business Association or other business associations that can be shared with via a communication so that it's going to a mass general select group
yeah,
versus individuals?
I cannot speak to that.
Okay.
And that is directly related to my short tenure here at Graham. I've been here a little over 2 months. So I'm not been made aware of any local business organization, I guess, type board settings that have I guess,
A
consensus
presence,
of multiple
yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't speak to that. I can ask and I can get you a little, blurb back of, if there is
Don't think we
one,
wanna
and I
do
can
that
do
now.
that. But as for right now, I don't have any information on that, unfortunately.
What about at this thing on Thursday? Can we talk
Yeah, that would be a great place to do it as well. But of course, that reaches out to the downtown businesses. So you're kind of condensing your spectrum, but it of course would
And
be
then
something
your
that we
area,
brought up
my
and
area
Mary
will
and
be
I'll probably
covered.
talk about it more.
Let's stay away from that. I would suggest that we just go on the footsteps that we had started, the various different little locations. I
Yeah.
like that, Colonial Apartments, West Hard, auto dealerships, things like that. And it gives us a more personal side. with an association, it's already established. They already have their, perks
Downtown.
downtown, and everything is kind of focused.
Yes, ma'am. I'd be weary of treading ground like that where you're trying to exclude since they have opportunity for other grants. They still have to be taken into account.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think they're on the website.
Yes, ma'am.
They'll get it off the website, but what I
Oh,
was
okay. You're
saying,
talking about just providing content. Yeah.
yes,
it'll be
not
advertised.
excluding anyone,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
just with the ones that we're gonna hand out, because the association has their chairs, and they have people
Yeah.
in place,
Of course.
and I wouldn't want to go over them or behind
And it'll be
them.
something that we'll probably advertise at the DAC meeting as well. So that'll be there.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
yeah,
even if they're not downtown business owners, but hopefully they have
They can talk.
a vision of what they want Graham to look like.
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
yes.
It turns into word of
And
mouth.
that's where this is gonna be very vital too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, can we put this as a two-sided flyer, so they can make sure they get both pieces of information. If we could do your flyer and then do something like this on the back, make it two-sided so they could be aware of both
Yes.
things.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because
Because they should come.
It's
They should
in
come, yeah.
Spanish on the other side, though. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
no,
that's-
I'm just saying
yeah.
this, the English part.
It's
Yeah.
Make
staple them
it
together.
two-sided or staple them together either
Mhm.
way, and just that way we're soliciting for the grant and
Yes,
then
ma'am.
also letting them know that this is gonna be taking place. If everybody likes it, if not, I
Okay.
understand.
Everybody good on the decisions made? All right, next item of business is city council updates. Our city council liaison is not here. So I don't have anything to provide for city council updates. Are there any other items of discussion you all would like to talk about before we adjourn?
Anybody
What
got
time
anything?
tomorrow will the flyers be ready?
I can get them done probably before 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Is that all right? Do I need to do it earlier?
No,
I was about to say, I can get them done.
because I won't come before.
I can get them done first thing in the morning if I need to. Because I say that because I'll have to talk with Mary and Justin, the planning director, and just see what they think as well. But and kind of get a little bit of information surrounding it. So is there anything else y'all would like to talk about?
No, sir. Not me.
Everybody okay?
Anybody else?
Anybody?
I know that I've seen in the past that people have gotten residential awards
Correct.
for how they decorate for Christmas.
Yeah. I like
Do we
that.
not do that for Halloween? Is that just a Christmas thing?
I'm not 100% certain.
Ricky?
You, it is
Okay.
Christmas? Okay, thank you, sir. So that is something, we probably want to talk about next month. Being that it'll be right there at Thanksgiving time. And we can sit here and discuss. I'll give you a little bit more information of what it is. There will be an application deadline for that. So the December meeting may be, a lot being that we'll have the remainder of the business beautification grants, and then we're looking at the residential award. But
And
that's,
do the residents apply themselves or are they like nominated?
again, bear with
From-
me.
From what I remember,
Yes.
actually, I won one of those
Okay.
awards. That's why I'm here today. But what I remember is this committee will be assigned certain sections of
Ah.
3M, and individuals can submit their interest or neighbors or whatever, but then this group also would go out and look for nominees as
Of
well.
course. Yes, ma'am. And I'll look into a little bit more of that, and I may send y'all a little memo regarding it prior to, but we will probably need to talk about that next month. Just so we're all kind of established on that, and I am as well, because like I said, my tenure here has been quite short. But I'm getting by. So y'all have anything else I can answer? Any general items of discussion?
Anybody?
You said you have served your term?
My tenure. So I've been
Right.
here 2.5 months.
Oh.
So I'm relatively
new.
new. Yes, ma'am. I don't have no term limits as a planner here.
Oh,
So I don't get elected or reelected back to my position. No, ma'am. But yeah, that's just the big thing is I can't answer a lot of these questions because my time here has been quite short.
yeah.
And that's the only reason. So I've been busy.
Mhm. And I'd like to thank Cameron for making our packets for us tonight and assisting us with this. That's very a big help. Thank you for taking the time to explain things and go over things with us.
If y'all ever have any questions, you have my email, you got my phone number. Never hesitate to reach back out to me.
Just remember not to reply
Oh, yeah, that's the big thing. We're flying off.
Yes,
No. It's
no.
one of the open meeting laws, the sunshine laws that we gotta stay away from that.
Mhm.
So I guess if nobody else has anything, were you done, Cameron?
I'm all good. We're up for adjourning.
Y'all all good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Just need
I'll make a motion that we adjourn,
I'll second that.
meeting adjourned.
All in favor?
Yeah. All in favor? Every-
She's gonna be in the Oval Office one day.
Better her than me.
I love her.
Who seconded that again? I'm sorry.
Judy,
Judy.
Judy, Miss Judy. Thank you. This has been good.